All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're exploring a really fascinating book called The Stewardship Ledger. And what it offers is a powerful and honestly a beautiful alternative to how we usually think about work and management. It's all about this idea of finding a more human way to run our organizations. So let me just start with a question for you. Does your work ever feel less than human? You know that feeling, that sense that maybe the humanity has kind of been squeezed out of the whole process, like you're just a data point on a spreadsheet or another cog in the machine.
I think it's a feeling a lot of us can relate to. We're so often stuck in this world of dashboards, right? Everything's a metric. Everything's about escalations and this constant, relentless push for more throughput. And yeah, it's efficient, but it can also feel pretty cold and impersonal. But what if there was another way to do things? And that's exactly where the stewardship ledger comes in. It doesn't just suggest a tweak here or there. It proposes a pretty radical alternative, thinking of our workplace as a living system of care.
And that phrasing is so important. This isn't just another management fad or some new productivity hack. It's framed as something organic, something alive, a system that's built not just on efficiency, but on genuine care. Now, before you think this is all just some lofty, abstract idea, the book grounds this whole philosophy in a very real-world, super high-pressure setting, a logistics and supply chain business, a BPO. So this stuff isn't just theory. It was literally forged in the trenches of day-to-day operations. So you might be asking, okay, how do you actually build a system of care? The answer the book gives is surprisingly simple, but also really profound. You do it through ritual. You take the routine, everyday stuff we all do at work, and you transform it into something more meaningful. And this isn't just a vague concept. The book gets super practical. It actually lays out a framework of 31 specific practices, or as it calls them, immersive rituals. So what are these immersive rituals? Well, they're basically small practices designed to weave together the rules of how we work, that's the government's part, with a real sense of emotional connection and a design that everyone participates in. And the whole point, the whole goal, is to turn a standard operation into an act of dignity. And look at how poetic and tangible these can be. We're not talking about adding more meetings to your calendar, thank goodness. We're talking about things like the quiet ring of a bell to start a day with intention, or planting a sprig of mint to symbolize growth and renewal. Even lighting a lantern, not for surveillance, but for what the book calls gentle visibility. These are such small acts, but they carry so much meaning. But here's the thing, these rituals, they're not just for show. They're actually tools. Tools designed to create a really fundamental shift in mindset, to move us away from a culture that's purely driven by metrics and toward one of genuine stewardship. You can kind of see the before and after of this shift right here. The old view is so transactional, isn't it? Performance, succession, resolution. It's all about tasks and outcomes. But the stewardship view, it transforms those same things into moments of stewardship, reflection, and renewal. It's the same work, but it's approached with a completely different, and I'd say much more human, intention. So what's the end game? Why do all this? Well, the ultimate goal is to build a culture where people feel like they actually belong, a place where taking time to reflect isn't seen as a luxury, but as a core part of the job, and where the organization itself is always in this positive state of renewal. Okay, so this brings us to the core message, right? The ultimate takeaway from this really powerful book. It kind of pulls everything we've been talking about together. And a huge piece of this is about honoring the unseen labor. In that logistics example, this means really seeing the drivers, the analysts, the coordinators, and yeah, even the clients. This kind of system is designed to make everyone's contribution visible, to make it feel valued. And that's why this message really extends to all of us. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a practitioner on the front lines, a leader trying to build a better culture, or really just anyone out there who wants to find a way to make our systems of work feel human again. When you strip it all down, that's what this book is. It's not a technical manual or a 5-step plan for success. It's something much more fundamental than that. It is, quite simply, a call to care. A call to intentionally design care right into the very fabric of how we all work together. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. It doesn't have to be a mint sprig or a lantern, of course, but based on what we've just talked about,
What's just one small, intentional ritual that you could bring into your day that might make your work, and maybe the work of those around you, feel just a little more human? Thanks so much for joining me.